Okay, here I am with Arrays 101. Yesterday we found the even number of digits, and today I'm going to look at max consecutive ones. So, what is max consecutive ones? Well, you start counting 1, 2, 0. Okay, that's 2 ones in a row. Now we start counting again. 1, 2, 3, 3. And we don't find a 0, so we have 2 and we have 3. And 3 is greater than 2, so we return 3. So we need to have a counter to keep track of this. And basically, here's some. Is this pseudocode? Iterate through nums, increment the counter. When you find a 0, store the counter value in a separate variable. And then determine, save the larger value in the separate variable. So the first 0, once we find the first 0, we'll store the initial counter value in the separate variable. And we're going to save the larger value counter versus max. So the separate variable is going to be the max character. And there is a thing called the math object, has a method called max that takes two numbers and returns the greater of the two. So, okay, so let's make this big. Iterate through the numbers. We need a counter. Make a counter. Okay. Counter is made. Iterate through the numbers. For num of nums. If num is strongly equal, probably doesn't need to be strongly equal, but counter plus plus. Else, if it is a 0, then we are going to update our max character. So let max equal 0, at least in the beginning, and then else max equals our math object, math.max, and it's either going to be the current max, which at the beginning is 0, or it's going to be our counter. And so you can see that we have a decision, a binary decision. So we find the number 1, we count the ones, we find a 0, the max is going to be either 0 or the counter. So at first the counter Let's say we have 2 1s in a row is 2, so max is going to be 2. And then we start counting 1s again. So the counter needs to be reset. So if we find a 0, max is going to be the greater of the 2. The counter is reset, and we continue. And at the end of this, we need to return max. So that's how you do max consecutive ones. Output 2, expected 3. What happened? Genuine question. Output 2, expected 3 for this one. First number is 1. If the number is 1, counter becomes 1. We go to the next number, it's 1, counter becomes 2. Go to the next number, it's 0, max becomes either 0 or 2, but since 0 is not greater than 2, max becomes 2. Counter becomes 0. And we do this again for num of nums. Counter becomes 3. And it does not get added to max because it does not end on a 0. I don't know why I sounded mad just now. It does not end on a 0. Okay, so if it does not end on a 0, then you got problems. We need like an extra condition. What do we do? If it's the last number, at the end, we do this one more time. If you get to the end, we're going to do it one more time. So that's the code, and I'm sticking to it.